last 3 chapters of Numbers. We got 34, 35, and 36, and then we'll be on Deuteronomy tomorrow. All right, so thank you, God, for giving us this day. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for guiding us always. I pray that you speak through me today, that you control my words. Use me as a vessel of your will, and I pray that all those that need to hear this, hear it. In Jesus' name. All right. So let's look at, chapter 34, the first 15 verses are about the boundaries of Canaan, the southern border, and the western border, the northern border, and the eastern border. All right. So the promise of Abraham was to his descendants would be given all the land of Canaan, but the boundaries of Canaan have never been stated. The definition here, as the Lord gives it, corresponds to that found in Egyptian text of the 15th to 13th centuries, which is the era of Moses. In fact, Israel never occupied all this territory. It represents the promised land, not the subsequently occupied land of Israel. The boundary is not always clear. Oversimplifying, Canaan consisted of the land between the Mediterranean and the Jordan, plus modern Lebanon and a portion of modern Syria. The southern border of the promised land runs from the southern end of the Dead Sea to the Mediterranean coast west of Gaza. Let's read about it. And this is talked about verses 1 through 5. Also, Mr. Favorito. What's up, Favorito? My boy Martin. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Command the people of Israel and say to them, when you enter the land of Canaan, this is the land that shall fall into you for your inheritance, the land of Canaan, as defined by its borders. Your south side should be from the wilderness of Zin along the side of Edom, and your southern border shall run from the end of the Salt Sea on the east, and your border shall turn south of the ascent of Akrabim and across the Zin, and its limit shall be south of Kadesh Barnea. Then it shall go to Hazar Adar and pass along Asmon, and the border shall turn from the Asmon to the Brook of Egypt, and its limit shall be the sea." So the next up is the western border, then the northern border, and the eastern border. I'll just read about it now. For the western border you shall have the great sea and its coast. This shall be your western border. This shall be your northern border. From the great sea you shall draw a line from Mount Hor. From Mount Hor you shall draw a line to Lebo Hamath, and the limit of the border shall be at Zedad. Then the border shall extend from Ziphron, and its limit shall be Hazar and Enan. This shall be your northern border. You shall draw a line from your eastern border from Hazar Enan to Shepham, and the border shall go down from Shepham to Riblah, and on the east side of Ain, and the border shall go down and reach the shoulder of the sea of Chinnereth on the east, and the border shall go down to Jordan, and its limit shall be at the Salt Sea. This shall be your land as defined by its borders around. Moses commanded the people of Israel, saying, "This is the land you shall inherit by lot, which the Lord has commanded to give to the 9 tribes and to the half tribe, for the tribe of the people of Reuben by their fathers' houses, and the tribe of the people of Gad by their fathers' houses have received their inheritance, and also the half tribe of Manasseh. The 2 tribes and the half tribe have received their inheritance beyond the Jordan, east of Jericho, towards the sunrise." Alrighty, so now the distributions of land is this next couple of verses from 16 through 29 to end the chapter. The distributors are the tribal chiefs of the 10 tribes who will settle west of the Jordan. Thus, no chiefs of Reuben and Gad are listed because they are settling in Transjordan. We talked about them in the previous chapter, that they didn't want to have theirs exactly in the promised land. They're going to help the Israelites, all the rest of the tribes, kind of clear out all of the people in Canaan, like in any war that they got to do, but they're willing to help with that and then settle outside of what is considered the promised land. So they're already taken care of. But because they're settling inside in Transjordan, the chiefs are mentioned in the order of the lands they eventually received from south to north. On this principle, Simeon, as the southernmost tribe, ought to precede Judah, but Judah, being the foremost tribe in the book of Numbers, actually heads the list. Apart from Caleb, chief of Judah, the other named chiefs are mentioned nowhere else in Scripture. Nevertheless, they are important. And then it says, these are the men whom the Lord commanded to divide the inheritance for the people of the Israel in the land of Canaan. So that's how it ends. Let's read it. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, these are the names of the men who shall divide the land to you for your inheritance. This is how they're splitting it up. Eleazar, to the priest of Joshua, the son of Nun, you shall take one chief from every tribe to divide the land for your inheritance. These are the names of the men on the tribe of Judah: Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, of the tribe of the people of Simeon; Shemiel, the son of Ammihud, of the tribe of Benjamin; Elidad, the son of Chilson, of the tribe of the people of Dan; a chief; Buki, the son of Jogli, of the people of Joseph, of the tribe of the people of Manasseh; and a chief; Haniel, the son of Ephod, and the tribe of the people of Ephraim; a chief; Chemiel, the son of Shephtan, of the tribe of the people of Zebulun; a chief; Elizaphan, the son of Parnak, of the tribe of the people of Issachar; a chief; Paltiel, the son of Azan, and of the tribe of the people of Asher; a chief; Ahihud, the son of Shilomi, of the tribe of the people of Naphtali; a chief; Pedahel, the son of Ammihud. These are the men whom the Lord commanded to divide the inheritance of the people of Israel in the land of Canaan. Love to hear, brother. Have a blessed night. God bless you. God bless. God bless. Just reading the Bible. All right. So that was chapter 34. Not a lot going on exactly. Just going over how Canaan is going to be split up. So this next chapter, 35 and 36, is all we got left in the book. So 35 is about the cities for the Levites. Verses 1 through 8 is cities of the Levites. Like I said, after the census for the secular tribes always come the census for the Levites. The second census was for determining the size of the tribes, so has to give them an appropriately sized territory, but the Levites were expressly excluded from inheriting the land. Nevertheless, they had to live somewhere and needed land to graze the livestock they received in tithes from other tribes. Arrangements for other tribes were discussed, so now the Levites' needs are broached. Basically, the Levites are assigned 48 cities, and they're immediately surrounding grazing land. The grazing land stretched for 1,000 cubits, which is 500 yards, from the city wall. This meant that if the city was very small, the grazing lands would stretch 2,000 cubits in each direction. Commentators assume that in the case of larger settlements, the pasture lands would stretch over 1,000 cubits outward from the city wall, but overall the total size of the settlement would be bigger. Among the Levitical cities are 6 cities of refuge, whose function is described in verses 9 to 34. 42 other cities have been chosen elsewhere to make a total of 48. Big tribes had to have more Levitical cities, and small tribes had to have fewer cities. Joshua 21 reports the fulfillment of this command, but most tribes ended up with 4 Levitical cities each. Okay, let's read about it. The Lord spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho, saying, command the people of Israel to give the Levites some of their inheritance of their possession as cities for them to dwell in, and you shall give to the Levites pasture lands around the cities. The cities shall be theirs to dwell in, and their pasture lands shall be their cattle, and for their livestock, and for all their beasts. The pasture lands of the cities which you shall give the Levites shall reach from the wall of the city outward 1,000 cubits all around, and you shall measure outside the city on the east side 2,000 cubits, and on the south side 2,000 cubits, and on the west side 2,000 cubits, and on the north side 2,000 cubits, the city being in the middle. This shall belong to them, and the pasture land for the cities. The cities that you give to the Levites shall be the 6 cities of refuge, where you shall permit the manslayer to flee, and in addition to them you shall give 42 cities. All the cities that you give to the Levites shall be 48, with their pasture lands. And as for the cities that you shall give from the possession of the people of Israel, from the larger tribes you shall take many, and from the smaller tribes you shall take few, each in proportion to their inheritance that it inherits shall give its cities to the Levites. Because again, the Levites are being taken care of by basically all the other tribes, because that's what God wants. That everything they're doing, like, their main focus is the tabernacle and taking care of the Ark of the Covenant and like all that's their main focus. So because of that, then they're not really trying to do anything else. The other tribes kind of give tithes to them essentially, and then they're being maintained by what every other tribe is doing, including this land. And the Lord spoke to Moses saying, so verses 9 through 34 is going to be about the cities of refuge. The fact that this rule is mentioned at the point is explained by the mention of the cities of refuge in verse 6. The theological reason for this rule is given at the end of the section. You shall not defile the land in which you live, in the midst of which I dwell. Canaan is a holy land, not because Israel lives there, but because God dwells there. He is preeminently holy one, and sin and death are in absolute opposition to him. If the land is made unclean by violent death, drastic measures have to be taken to make atonement. Otherwise, the Lord will forsake the land and Israel will be exiled. The cities of refuge and the laws associated with them show how cases of homicide are to be handled in order to prevent the nations being forsaken. The Israelites' system of justice involved in the injured party seeking relief in court from the aggressor. In the case of homicide, the male relative closest to the murder victim was expected to exact retribution. This is the situation in chapter 35, 11 through 15. In hot anger, the avenger may hunt down the killer and execute him, but the manslayer should run to the nearest city for refuge to stand trial before the congregation. That is the whole populace or its representatives. The judges will then decide whether the killer deserves to be executed for his crime. This criteria are set out in verses 16 through 24. So 9 through 15 is about the selection and purposes of these cities. 6 cities of refuge were chosen, 3 beyond the Jordan and 3 in the land of Canaan. The law of refuge applied not just to Israelites, but also to the stranger and the sojourner. So like the foreign people as well. Okay, let's read 9 through 15. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, you shall select cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the manslayer who kills any person without intent may flee there. These cities shall be for you a refuge from the avenger, that the manslayer may not die until he stands before the congregation for judgment. And the cities that you give shall be your 6 cities of refuge. You shall give the 3 cities beyond the Jordan and 3 cities in the land of Canaan to be cities of refuge. These 6 cities shall be for refuge for the people of Israel, and for the stranger, and for the sojourner among them, that anyone who kills any person without intent may flee out there. Okay. So verses 16 through 21 is about the homicide that warrants the death penalty. The common factor that links these examples is planning or premeditation. The killer in the cases had with him a lethal weapon, or he was known to hate his victim, or he lay in wait for him. These killings all count as murder, and the avenger of blood may execute. the killer. So let's read about that. 16 to 21. But if he struck him down with an iron object so that he died, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death. And if he struck him down with a stone tool that could cause death and he died, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death. Or if he struck him down with a wooden tool that would cause death and he died, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death. The avenger of blood shall himself put the murderer to death. When he meets him, he shall put him to death. And if he pushed him out of hatred or hurled something at him, lying in wait, so that he died, or an enmity struck him down with his hand, so that he died, then he who struck the blow shall be put to death. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood shall put the murderer to death when he meets him. Okay. Now, 22 through 29 goes over a homicide that does not deserve death. These are killings that are not planned, but are the result of accident or impulsive behavior. In these cases, the congregation shall rescue the manslayer from the hand of the avenger of blood. However, the killer in the case is not deemed totally innocent. He is punished by being confined to one of the cities of refuge. If the avenger of blood finds him outside the boundaries of the city, he may kill him. The manslayer must stay there until the high priest dies. So, but if he pushed him suddenly without enmity, or hurled anything on him without lying in wait, or used a stone that could cause death, and without seeing him dropped it on him so that he died, though he was not his enemy and did not seek his harm, then the congregation shall judge between the manslayer and the avenger of blood in accordance with these rules. And the congregation shall rescue the manslayer from the hand of the avenger of blood, and the congregation shall restore him to his city of refuge to which he had fled, and he shall live in it until the death of the high priest who was anointed with the holy oil. But if the manslayer shall at any time go beyond the borders of the city of refuge which he fled, then the avenger of blood finds him outside the boundaries of his city of refuge, and the avenger of blood kills the manslayer, he shall not be guilty of blood, for he must remain in the city of refuge until the death of his high priest. But after the death of his high priest, the manslayer may return to the land of his possession. And these things shall be for the statute and rule for you throughout the generations in all of your dwelling places. Some real interesting stuff right there. So, like, you kill someone, you have to go to these refuge cities. Because you killed someone, there's a guy that can go basically avenge their death. But that you can't be killed in that refuge city. But if you get outside of that refuge city, then you can get killed. So imagine being that person. You're just kind of waiting to see if someone slips up and goes where they're not supposed to go. And then while they're there, they basically go under trial to see if, like, what they did was truly, like, if it was allowed or not. If it was, like, a justified killing. Big Gabe, appreciate your time with the Daily Word today. Big fan from Australia. Perhaps any fight news soon. God bless, man. Dude, I really need to go to Australia. I know a couple people out in Australia. One of these days, I gotta make it out there. No fight news right now. Just waiting on my shoulder to be completely cleared. Had shoulder surgery, and it's getting there. It's getting there. The mobility's getting pretty good, but not cleared to even be on the mats truly. Not like the train. I'm a couple months away from going live still, so soon as I can, though. I really need to get back in there. Got some God willing, I got some wins to get done. Some more wins under my belt, and maybe even a belt. So only God knows, and I know what God's planned for me is the best, so I'm just kind of waiting and excited to see where he takes me. But back to it. Your fighter, man, and even if a greater man of faith, praise to be Jesus help you. Appreciate that. Yeah. Amen. I know God's going to take care of me in his timing, and I know his timing's the best. So just laying and waiting, doing all I can in the meantime. All right. So chapter 36, the last chapter of the book. Or did I finish? No, I didn't actually. I'm on verse 30. If anyone kills a person, the murderer shall be put to death on did I read that? I'll just read it again if I did. If anyone kills a person, the murderer shall put to death on the evidence of witness, but no person shall be put to death on the testimony of one witness. Moreover, you shall accept no ransom for the life of a murderer who is guilty of death, but he shall be put to death, and you shall accept no ransom for him who has fled to a city of refuge, that he may return to dwell in the land before the death of the high priest. You shall not pollute the land in which you live, for blood pollutes the land, and no atonement can be made for the land for the blood that is shed in it, except by the blood of the one who shed it. You shall not defile the land in which you live, in the midst of which I dwell, for I, the Lord, dwell in the midst of the people of Israel. Man, you're welcome. You are welcome, Martin. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's a very kind of elaborate way to handle murder and make sure that it doesn't go unchecked and that people aren't just killing people willy-nilly, and there's consequences for killing. There's a way about to make sure that just nobody just starts killing each other, and just a bunch of, it doesn't escalate to like just massive bloodshed everywhere. You kill, someone dies, you go to the refuge city, you kind of await trial. While you're awaiting trial, no one else can kind of kill you as long as you're in that city. If you leave the city, you can get killed, but you can't get killed unless you leave that area. And like I said, you're waiting for trial. They're gonna see what's up, and then they figure out what happens from there. Yeah, very interesting way to go around to go about things. But so now, chapter 36, this last chapter, is about the marriage of female heirs, and specifically verses 1 through 13 are about Zelophehad's daughters marry. Zelophehad's daughters had requested a change in inheritance rules where a man had daughters but no sons. In this situation, they had asked that daughters be allowed to inherit. This was granted. Now the heads of Zelophehad's clan see a snag. If these daughters marry husbands from another tribe, their land will become the property of that tribe. Then the tribe of Manasseh, to which Zelophehad belonged, will lose the land because it will not revert to the original tribe in the year of Jubilee. The Jubilee year occurred every 50 years, and in it, land which had been sold returned to its original owner. But this did not apply to the land that was transferred through marriage. Normally, when men married, there was no transfer of land. It stayed within the man's own tribe. But if a land-owning daughter married, the land would be transferred to her husband's family and tribe. To prevent tribal land being lost through intermarriage, Moses rules that Zelophehad's daughters must marry men from their own tribe. In this way, tribal lands will be preserved. Every one of the people of Israel shall hold on to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. So important is this principle that is repeated in verse 9. Happily, this is all worked out for the daughters married their cousins. This instance that everyone shall hold on to his own inheritance is more than a legal obligation, as a promise that the tribes will always live in their God-given land. In the words of Genesis 17:8, I will give you I will give to you and your offspring and the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession. This makes a fitting conclusion to a book whose principal interest is to show how Israel was brought to the verge of the promised land, but in another way, the book leaves the reader in suspense. The last time the situation of the daughters of Zelophehad was discussed, there immediately followed the command of Moses to go up to the mountain. And die. This command has still not been fulfilled, so Numbers requires a sequel, and it's provided by the book of Deuteronomy. Okay. So the heads of the fathers' houses of the clan of the people of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, from the clans of the people of Joseph, came near and spoke before Moses and before the chiefs, the heads of the fathers' houses of the people of Israel. They said, "The Lord commanded my Lord to give the land for inheritance by lot to the people of Israel, and my Lord was commanded by the Lord to give inheritance to Zelophehad, our brothers, to his daughters. But if they are married to any of the sons of the other tribes of the people of Israel, then their inheritance will be taken from the inheritance of our fathers and added to the inheritance of the tribe in which they marry. So it will be taken away from the lot of our inheritance. And when the Jubilee of the people of Israel comes, then their inheritance will be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which they marry, and their inheritance will be taken from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers." And Moses commanded the people of Israel according to the word of the Lord, saying, "The tribe of the people of Joseph is right. This is what the Lord commands concerning the daughters of Zelophehad. Let them marry whom they think best. Only they shall marry within the clan of the tribe of their father. The inheritance of the people of Israel shall not be transferred from one tribe to another, for everyone of the people of Israel shall hold on to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers, and every daughter who possesses an inheritance in any tribe of the people of Israel shall be wife to one of the clan of the tribe of her father, so that every one of the people of Israel may possess the inheritance of his fathers. So no inheritance shall be transferred from one tribe to another, for each of the tribes of the people of Israel shall hold on to its own inheritance." The daughters of Zelophehad did as the Lord commanded Moses, for Mahlah, Tirzah, Hagla, Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, were married to sons of their father's brothers. They were married into the clan of the people of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of their father's clan. These are the commandments of the rules that the Lord commanded through Moses to the people of Israel in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. The book closes reminding the reader that the Lord commanded its content through Moses, through the preeminent prophet. Israel's good lies in heeding these instructions. The very last word in both Hebrew and English is Jericho, looking forward to the first stage in the conquest. So then that's the way that it ends. So Numbers ends with basically this dilemma that this guy, he only has a bunch of daughters, and he'll essentially lose what is supposed to be his as the way that they're splitting it up. And so they're like, well, we're going to lose all of our inheritance. And then they come up with the idea, or God does. He's like, well, I don't want you to lose your inheritance. All you have is daughters, so just have your daughters marry their cousins, and then you won't lose anything. And then that's kind of that for that section. And I mean, you'll see a lot of there's kind of a lot of incest that kind of happens in the beginning of this book, in the beginning of the first couple books of the Bible. But there's also like not a lot of people on Earth. I mean, like there is, but it's kind of not. There's significantly more people now compared to back then. So like, marrying your cousin's a little like looked down upon today. You know, it's highly kind of recommended that you don't do it. Back then, not so much of an issue. And then like later, he does say that, I mean, there is laws like not to kind of go after like your mom and your sister and your like your dad and brother and like all that, like your immediate family. We touched upon it before, but yeah, I guess cousins are free game for now. But yeah, I don't know if that means God thinks it's still okay for you to marry your cousin. Not 100% sure on that. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. But yeah, God bless, guys. I know the Bible's a lot. We especially when you're going through the Old Testament, it's a completely different kind of time that you gotta know that God is making rules for people, and he has like kind of this line of morale and like absolutes kind like sort of that come across. But there's like things that he are kind of implying that they like the way that things should be, but he doesn't kind of say it outright. Like I mentioned it before, when the New Testament comes later, it's love your neighbor. And he doesn't necessarily say love your neighbor in here in the Old Testament. It's like an eye for an eye. But an eye for an eye, like I've explained, an eye for an eye is love your neighbor, because you should be treating your neighbor with love, because not would mean that you're losing, and like you're losing your eye, or whatever. If I go and hurt my neighbor, I'm expected to get hurt back. So like that becoming love your neighbor, like it's in the same breath. People it's like two opposite sides of the coin, but it's like the same coin. They mean the same thing. They're just kind of worded very differently. But yeah, because like they're both saying treat others the way that you want to be treated, or you are going to you have to treat people the way that you want to be treated, because whatever you do to other people, they're going to do to you. And we can all kind of agree that the way that we wanted to be treated is with love. So it's the same, it's just different. And the way that he says it that way, because it was easier to understand that the people of the time would understand an eye for an eye. They wouldn't understand love your neighbor. They weren't ready for that conversation yet. They wouldn't have listened to that conversation. An eye for an eye is what had to be said so that they can like start walking towards an understanding to love your neighbor. But yeah. So we're done with Numbers. Next up, Deuteronomy. And then after that, I think it's Josh. Deuteronomy, and then Joshua. But so we've got Genesis, we got Exodus, we got Leviticus, and we got Numbers. So we're at 4 books. We've already finished 4 books this year in the Bible, and we about to make it 5 with Deuteronomy. So God bless, guys. Praying for all of you guys. Pray that God's with you, that you understand that God's with you, that you are accepting all of his blessings, that you're allowing his protection to lie over your body and protect you, that you understand that you are truly abundantly taken care for, and you're not taking any of it for granted. And that I just pray that you're shining so bright, you're shining all of God's love through you, and that all people that you encounter on a daily basis understand that shine is not necessarily you, that it's God reflecting through you, because that's the most important. Spread God's love, spread God's kingdom, bring people to the light. God bless, guys. Good night.